Hey, how are you? Yeah, good to see you. Just admiring some of these amazing models that you've brought out down here. And as I was just saying to the viewers, always catches my eye, this one, that Ducati that shouldn't really work in those colours, but it does, doesn't it? That livery from the Go 11 Ducati, absolutely beautiful.
It's almost a little bit of like a Tiffany, like that Tiffany blue, which, you know, is a luxury product. And so when you put ourselves in that world, it's okay. And I think that's why it works.
Obviously, you guys are sort of here every round at MotoAmerica, certainly at WeatherTech Raceway. I've seen you for the last few years. You seem to bring more motorcycles. There seems to be more Ducatisti that come to these races all the time. And obviously some big Ducati names here this weekend. Biaggi, Checa, also Mr. Paolo Ciabatti has appeared as well. So this is a big event for you.
Absolutely. In fact, you know, Laguna Seca is, of course, a very special part in the world of motorcycle racing, and definitely for us Americans. And with this being in our backyard, I mean, our office is like an hour and a half from here, so we really bring out the full exposure and all of the brand in order for people to get an experience. And what's nice is this weekend we're not only hosting a bunch of Ducatisti, but we have some of our top clients that are hosted up in a suite as well. And over the last few years, since we've really been able to build our presence on the circuit, on the track locally, it's been a dream of mine to bring Ducati back to really North American racing and racing in the U.S. And I mean, after the results yesterday, Josh is just, it's incredible how well he's doing, especially considering his injuries. I mean, he really pushes right through. And then what can you say about Chavi, man? I mean, like, this guy is just a machine, coming from 8th to 1st and just sweeping the entire season so far. So it's a testament to not only these incredible riders, but the incredible motorcycles that they're riding. And Americans are finally getting their heads wrapped around like that we are competitive here locally, not just on a world stage, and they have somebody to cheer for locally as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I actually went for dinner down in Canary Row last night. I was trying on a Saturday, especially at this event, to go down there. Such a big atmosphere. And I was having dinner, and I was actually chatting to a couple of people, a family of people, actually, all dressed up in Ducati, and they were saying, oh, you're here for the races. Anyway, we had this bit of a chat, and found out that the guy was actually a long-time Ducati fan. And he was saying, oh, we've, you know, since 2011, since Checa won, then suddenly in Superbikes, on the world stage, it kind of went through the doldrums. Some flashes, obviously, with Chaz and other riders winning races, but now this is our time. And the guy was getting so passionate to the point where he was almost crying into his steak, surf and turf. I was like, dude, it's all right, mate. It's just enjoy the moment. But it's like you said, it's kind of that is racing, isn't it? It goes like that sometimes. And touching on the point that you said about Chavi, and me and Roger Hayden were joking during the season, you know, like, look at him go. He's won 4. He's going to be, you know, he's strived for 5. He's in the mix for 6, 7th heaven, and like he's got to be feeling great. He's won 8. I mean, like, can he do 9 on the bounce? I mean, Chavi Forés, I'm running out of things to say. I said to Paolo Ciabatti yesterday, to me, one of the most underestimated riders that I've ever met in more than 10 years traveling around the world. And he's such a nice guy off track.
Well, that thing about him being a nice guy, you could see it in his face. I mean, he was prepping on the grid yesterday, and he has game face on, but he looked happy. So, you know, it's a rider mixing with the fact that he's hardly ridden any of the tracks. I mean, I think Laguna was the only track that he had ever spent any time on before. And at that level, those guys have like 10 laps to figure out a circuit. You can't go there and say, oh, I've never ridden here before. You go and you deliver, and he did it. And I see that happiness and him not only being a nice guy, but really enjoying the team, enjoying America. And it's great to be able to bring a talent like that over. And I think that he's found his place, really. You know, you look at his career over the past, like you said, he's an incredible rider, but never maybe found the right mix of the teammates, and everyone, and even the bike. And now he's just, I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with. The fact that he was so far back and came so far forward. I mean, I was thinking, hey, we get podium, it'd be good. He wasn't going to accept that. You know, he was just charging all the way up. And so sometimes it makes for boring racing, but at the end of the day, I'm excited to win. That's what we want to see, and that's what our fans are here to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to ask you one final question before I make my way into the hot pit area and talk to some of the riders. You mentioned Josh Herrin. Obviously, you must be delighted. He won the championship last year, first season with the V-twin Panigale in the Next Generation Supersport, so he's the reigning champion. He's moved up back into Superbike, where we know he can excel, and he's delivering as well. And he too, like you mentioned about Chavi looking happy, big smiles. You see Josh around the paddock, that smile is back as well, and obviously he's happy to be back on a Ducati Superbike.
It's really, I mean, Josh is a really interesting gentleman. Like, the fact that he didn't really know anything about Ducati until he started racing last year with the Panigale V2, and he was just dominating. But the one thing, like we were talking about before, he was talking about how much fun he's having. And at the end of the day, when you're getting on the bike, even if you're out there racing and you're being competitive, you need to enjoy yourself. And I think the more fun you're having, the easier it becomes. You start stressing less about all that other stuff. And I see him doing that. I mean, even when he's pushing himself at the highest level, because the grid for Superbike is much more competitive in that top 5, let's say, than he was challenged with last year. And as a result, though, he's not just resting on his laurels. He's not accepting, getting at the back of the box. He's pushing hard and charging through for everything. So I'm so happy to see him develop. I'm happy he got this opportunity this year to run Superbike, because he definitely earned it, and he's earning it this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jason, always a pleasure to talk to you. And again, for the fans, if you